Yeah, there's no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, no. There's no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, so you better do the damn thing right. You only got one life, you better do the damn thing right.
Welcome guys back to the ShoeBenderPod podcast. I'm so glad to have you guys back. It's football, guys. It's been another full week of football. Well, not a full week. We still got the Monday night game. But we've been having a lot of really good games. A lot of really good games this weekend. A lot, like really, really good. There was a lot of, teams that we're actually probably going to see play in the playoffs against each other. So that's really cool. That was really cool to see that. Excuse me. So here, without a doubt, let's get into it. We'll start with the Thursday night game. Oh man, right now I'm watching the 49ers and Broncos game still live right now. And the Broncos kicker just wasn't the Broncos kicker. Let me see here. Yeah, McManus. He just missed a field goal which would have gave the Broncos the lead. And it just looks terrible for the Broncos right now. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong for that team right now. It's pretty wild to watch, actually. The fans have been booing Russell Wilson, like straight up booing him. Like, say what you want to say, but Seattle never booed Russell literally until a couple of weeks ago. This is what, back-to-back home games that he's got booed at, or the offense at least. It doesn't look good. They even they showed Sierra on the big screen, and she didn't look too happy either. Who would be, if your husband's getting booed at by a whole damn stadium. But anyways, that's what's going down in that game. It's still the third quarter, and it's 7-5 right now. The only reason why that happened is because Jimmy Garoppolo actually busted his best Dan Orlovsky moment and ran out of bounds in the back of the end zone. So they got a safety, so that's why it's 7-5. And then the Broncos just missed a field goal. So, yeah, this game has just been all over the place, guys. But this week of the NFL actually started with the Steelers versus Browns. It was a really good game. Really good game. The Browns actually ended up pulling it out, man. What's his name? Brissett looked really, really good. Like, really good. Like, he looked like a straight game manager. Like, if you ever want to put like a tape of a game manager, that's the kind of tape you'd put right there. Is you show him Brissett's tape, exactly what he did. He was like 37 for 37 on fourth and goal, like fourth and short, and QB sneaks. Like, it seemed like every time it was fourth and short, everybody knew it was gonna be a QB sneak, and he still got it. They balled out, man. The Browns looked really good. I was wrong on that pick. They looked good. The Browns are good. The first 8 minutes, it was really back and forth in the first quarter. There was really back and forth. Steelers finally getting a field goal attempt for the first points of the night, but Boswell misses the field goal, and this kind of sucks because I have Boswell in my fantasy, and so that kind of hurt me really bad. But it's all good. I'm not one of those people that freak out over fantasy like that. Like, come on, this literally has the word fantasy in it. But the reason why that happened is because, like, if you watch the game, the flags on top of the crossbar, they weren't going too crazy, but they were going. And I remember Pat always talking about on his show how that even though the flags, that's not a really good determination on to tell how fast it's actually going, because he's saying the higher the ball goes, obviously the windier it gets. So he says to never really trust those things. And, seeing that game, kind of shows why, because the flags weren't going too crazy, but you literally see the ball going straight, and then it literally curves, and then it literally goes to the right, all because of the wind. So they get a miss there. Browns drive the ball all the way down the field. Chubbs has a big run. But his receiver gets in his own way. I believe it's Stevens Jones. He gets in his own way. Or else it would have been a bigger run, but it was still a good run. Brissett ended up throwing a TD to Cooper for the first points of the night. The Steelers get the ball back and they get a huge play by Pickens, which makes an awesome catch. If you've been on the internet and you follow any sports page, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. A lot of people were comparing it to the OBJ catch. I mean, you could compare those two, but it's like some of the analysts are saying, OBJ got the win and it was a touchdown, which is true. But either way, it was still a super tough catch. I hate how like if it just because it wasn't like as difficult as Odell's or as awesome that it's not difficult. Like that was a really difficult catch what Pickens did. I mean, being that parallel to the ground and catching it with your hand, like with one hand, going down. I mean, it was a great catch. It definitely lit up Twitter after that, because people were comparing those catches for the rest of the day. But yeah, so Steelers gets a huge play by that. Steelers on the goal line before the quarter ends. So it was 7-0 Browns at that time. Steelers first play after the break, they get a TD by Najee Harris, who just straight runs over Johnson the third, bro. I mean, my goodness, Najee, bro, like, come on, bro, like his family's watching this game, dog. Like, gosh, damn, like, why do you have to be so violent, bro? It's so crazy. Like, you gotta watch out for guys like Najee that are so like chill, very mellow, nice. And you better watch out, man, because those are the rule, They always say watch out for the quiet ones, and Najee definitely just ran through this guy, man. It was real fucked up. So it's tied 7-7. Cooper starts really getting going for the Browns. I mean, he's freaking finding this like every hole in the zone, man. Like he's just doing a great job. I mean, that's what he does. And then Persett scores the second TD of the night, but this time it was to Njoku. Steelers get the ball back, drive all the way down, and then Mitch Trubisky runs it in for their first points of the night, and they get that TD. Browns get the ball back. They start driving down the field with Njoku, and it was just like they were just passing the ball heavy in the second quarter, man. The Browns were passing it heavy. So the Browns end up going in for on 4th and 2nd, but Cooper came up with the catch. I mean, he couldn't come up with the catch. He caught it, but he couldn't hold on to it, so he dropped it, didn't convert. Steelers get the ball back on the turnover of downs. They drove down, and they could have kicked the field goal, but they decided not to because it was too windy. So they pretty much just kept running plays until the quarter ran out. And so going into the half, it was 14-13 Steelers. Third quarter comes around. It's a lot of back and forth again, not too much scoring. The Browns go for their fourth and get it by the run on Hunt, which was really good. 4 minutes ago, Willis gets hurt, their left tackle, man, which is huge for the Browns. He gets hurt, which he's another Bama product, I believe. Browns get their first points of the half, not being able to get the first down. They get a field goal, I believe, is right? No. Okay, I just confused myself again. I'm so sorry, guys. I hate it when I do this to myself. I gotta be better with these notes, man. But anyways, Mitch gets a great throw off, but Johnson can't come up with the pass because it goes right through his hands. Chubbs gets back-to-back runs and pretty much runs that third quarter out. There wasn't really too much action there, guys. Fourth quarter comes around. There's a big play to start the fourth quarter with the play action to Cooper. It was a 30-yard gain, and followed by 31, followed by a big Chubb run. I mean, Chubb did a huge run right after that play. Hunt gets stopped 3 times to try to get into the end zone, guys. 3 times. That's how stout that defense is by the Steelers, man. 3 times and they couldn't get in. But they go for it. They go for it on 4th and down because, they're the Browns. And they go for it, and Chubbs actually jumps over the line, and he gets his first TD. And then it's 23-14. Let me see here. The Browns have the ball and they run it all the way down on 3rd and down, but are short after the replay. Which, honestly, if you watch the replay, they should have got that first down, but the refs, for some odd reason, again, they didn't see what literally everybody else in the world was seeing, and they gave the ball to the Steelers. Steelers get the ball back. They're trying to make some magic happen, but they fumble. Game's over, and they actually fumble the ball into the end zone, which the Browns recover, which they get more points. So it's the Browns end up winning the game 29-17. Crazy way to end that game. But the Browns are doing it, guys. The Browns are doing it. They're definitely making me look bad for saying that, they'd be losing these games because of what's been going on in the organization. If anything, it's kind of fueled them. They've been playing really, really good football. Very physical team. Super physical team. That 1-2 punch with Chubbs and Hunt has just been really wild. Perset's like I said, he's been the ultimate game changer, game manager. He's just spreading the ball everywhere, getting it to the open guy. Great job by that team and that coach, Stefanski, for keeping them, in the straight and narrow, because they could easily, be 0-3 with everything that's been going on in that franchise. So that's how we started off week 3, I believe, of the NFL. Week 3. And then now we're gonna jump over to the college football realm. We'll start off with Kent State and Georgia. Kent State they were actually giving Georgia a really good game until like the second half, and then Georgia, they took over. And of course, Brock Bowers, the guy I've been telling you guys about, this kid, I'm telling you, I do not know why he is not a Heisman candidate, and he should be. Brock Bowers should be a Heisman candidate, and honestly, he should win it the way he's balling out already this year. He should be ahead of everybody. There's really no quarterback that has mind-boggling numbers. I mean, this guy's a tight end, and he's putting up amazing numbers. I'm definitely gonna be, rooting. That's rooting. That's a bad way of saying it, but. What's another way of saying, like, I'm definitely gonna be pounding that drum, you know what I'm saying? Pause. Of him, for him to get into the Heisman voting or to win the Heisman, because he's definitely that guy. I believe is the best player in college football right now. So Georgia wins 39-22. We move on to Vanderbilt, Alabama. Really wasn't a game. Bama straight dominated them 55-3. My goodness, Bryce Young had 4 touchdowns, 385 yards, only pretty much 11 incompletions. Man, Brooks, receiver, had 117 yards on 6 receptions and 2 TDs. That's some straight PS5 numbers, bro. Like, that's not some real life shit, Like, that's crazy. That's crazy good. Shout out to Bama for dominating like that. And then you had Wisconsin going against Ohio State in a Big Ten matchup. Ohio State demolished them, man. 52-21. CJ Stroud had 5 touchdowns, 281 yards, only 10 incompletions. Allen, the running back from Wisconsin, had 65 yards in a TD. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this receiver from Ohio State's last name. I'm just going to say double E. He had 6 receptions for 118 yards, 2 TDs. Dominant. Marvin Harrison Jr., who's Marvin Harrison's son. Sorry, that was like a tongue twister for me. He was balling out that game too. He was actually wearing an Apple Watch and some Louis V inspired Nike cleats, so that was cool. We move on to the next game, Michigan against Maryland. I mean, this was a really close game, actually. Michigan was able to squeeze this one out, and they were able to win 34-27. You got Blake Chrome, who took a 47-yard run to the house. I mean, he's a great running back. I mean, look at this guy. Another guy that should be in the name, in the running for the Heisman, that I'm not hearing about is this kid, the running back from Michigan. I mean, look at these numbers. 30 carries, 243 yards, 2 TDs. How is this guy not in the Heisman voting? This is not even a QB battle no more. This is between like this guy and Bowers, like for real. Everybody knows Young and those other quarterbacks that could play, man. We need to start giving the Heisman to these skill players that really need it, or these defensive players that really ball out, you know? There's enough quarterbacks in the damn Heisman Hall. Like straight up. That's crazy. That's crazy numbers by a running back. For real. You had Clemson, who went back and forth with Wake Forest. I actually watched this game. It was a really, really good game, guys. Really, really good game. Wake Forest, oh man, they almost had him. They almost had him, but it didn't happen. DJ, he had 371 yards, 5 TDs. Shipley, the running back, 20 yards, 20 yards, 20 carries, 104 yards, 1 TD. And then you had Wake Forest's Banks, wide receiver. He had 141 yards, 2 TDs on 6 receptions. Balling. Those kids balling. Kansas State ends up upsetting number 6 Oklahoma. Speaking of Clemson, the defensive coordinator that was at Clemson is actually coaching at Oklahoma now. He gets his first loss at home as a Sooner. Gabriel, the quarterback, had 330 yards, 4 TDs. But this Martinez kid, he just beat him. He just beat him. He had like 400 and something total yards and 4 TDs. Like he just carried this team. He willed this Kansas State team to this win. This quarterback definitely put on a show on that national stage. By the way, the 49ers and the Broncos, is an update for the fourth quarter just started and it's 10-5. The 49ers just scored a field goal not too long ago. But back to this game, we had the receiver Mims from Oklahoma had 87 yards with the TD. We move on to the next game, which was my Trojans, USC. Oregon State gave us a huge scare, boys. They gave us a huge scare, man. That secondary, that defense is for real at Oregon State, man. That legit was a trap game. It always is a trap game. If it's not them, it's like Washington or Washington State that always gets us. UCLA could be a trap game sometimes for us. But Oregon State has definitely, sometimes definitely had our number in these kind of games. Obviously, I mean, look, they had a pretty much a super experienced secondary. Their defensive line was great. I mean, they were just mauling our offensive linemen. Caleb Williams had like barely any time to throw the ball. At the very end of the fourth quarter, Lincoln Riley literally walked up to Caleb Williams and was telling him, like, yo, like, this is it. Like, this is our moment. Like, we need to do this. Like, it needs to happen because... And, ooh... You gotta catch those, bro. Jerry Jeudy just dropped one of them moon bombs that Russell Wilson throws. Damn. Gotta make those plays, man. But anyways, back to college football. USC, Caleb Williams only had 180 yards with 1 TD, 16 of 36, 20 incompletions, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, this Oregon State team was just all over everybody. You had Tyson Dye, running back for USC, 133 yards, 1 TD. Wide receiver for USC, Washington, 6 receptions, 67 yards. The biggest play obviously was, to me personally, everybody's going to say that catch from Addison because, obviously it's sealed the game. But I think to me the play of the game was on that 4th and down when the offensive line pushed Caleb Williams to get that first down. I've said it before. I've honestly said it in my podcast. I hate that play. I hate that play in college, in any type of football, because I just think that's so unfair. Like, you have a defensive player and an offensive player that meet at the apex, and they're stagnant. You know what I'm saying? That whistle should be blown. But then you have a 300, almost 400-pound lineman, full speed, just straight running into both of y'all and pretty much driving, the their quarterback or their running back into the end zone or to the first down, and that's exactly what happened. In this point, it worked out in my favor. Am I a fan of the play? No, I'm still not a fan of the play. At that moment, it was cool because why? We get the first down, but still, like, I just don't like that play. But I bet we definitely benefited off of it because after that, we were able to throw a strike to Addison, who was super quiet the whole game. Super quiet. But of course, great players do what great players do. And he makes the play when it matters. And he wins the game. So that was just such a great game. Shout out to Oregon State for being so competitive and just being a great team to go up against. It was a really great game to watch. We move on to Kentucky, Northern Illinois. Number 8, Kentucky wins 31-23, barely. And they went off a touchdown, guys. And then you had Kentucky's quarterback, Levis. He had 303 yards, 4 TDs. Kentucky's running back had Smoke. He had 85 yards. Robinson, another UK product, 147 with 2 TDs. Great game. Kentucky's still undefeated, number 8 in the nation. That's pretty crazy. A lot of people ain't talking about Kentucky, and they're ranked in the top 10. That's usually normal in basketball, not in football. So obviously, them being really good at basketball is paying off with them recruits. So we move on to the next game that was played actually in Jerry World, because Jerry World is actually an alum from one of these colleges, and it was number 10 Arkansas against 23 Texas A&M, and Texas A&M was actually able to squeeze one out in this game. Really, really close game as well. They were able to win 23-21. You had Arkansas's quarterback Jefferson, 171 yards, 2 TDs. The DA from Texas A&M, running back, 159 yards, 1 TD. Thompson, wide receiver from Arkansas, 57 yards with 1 TD. And the college that Jerry Jones actually went to was Arkansas, by the way. Next game was Florida and Tennessee, which is a really great game. Great atmosphere. Really great fans from both sides, Florida and Tennessee. Big SEC, a huge SEC game. A huge basketball game when they go at it as well. Tennessee's able to win this game. They were ranked 11th, 38-33. Florida was ranked 20th. Richardson, quarterback from Florida, 453 yards, 2 TDs, 20 incompletions, 24 for 44. Almost 500 yards. I don't care what anybody says at any level. That's really good. Then you had Hooker, Tennessee's quarterback, who had 112 yards on 13 carries with 1 TD. Then you had Shorter, Florida's receiver, with 7 yards, 7 receptions, 155 yards. Then you got UConn at North Carolina State, number 12th in the nation, 41-10. North Carolina State's quarterback had 320 yards, 4 TDs. Their running back had 66 yards on 10 carries. Their receiver had 115 yards. Thomas, 5 receptions, 1 TD. Allen is a running back for North Carolina State, by the way, for those that wanted to know. Sorry about that. And then we had Utah, number 13, going against Arizona State, which basically fired their coach, Herm Edward, 34-13. Arizona State's quarterback had 261 yards with 1 TD. Utah's running back Thomas had 60 yards. Badger receiver from Ohio State, 5 receptions for 76 yards. Central Michigan loses to number 14th ranked Penn State, 33-14. You have Central Michigan's quarterback Richardson, who had 235 yards, 2 TDs. Allen, running back for Penn State, 111 yards, 1 TD. And then Double C, wide receiver for Central Michigan, 11 receptions for 111 yards. That's a lot of ones, dog. Imagine if he's number 11 and number 1. Not my miss. Okay, and then we move to number 15th ranked Oregon, who barely barely beat Washington State 44-41. Bo Nix, 428 yards, 3 TDs, his best game as a Duck. Irving, the running back from Oregon, 81 yards. Franklin, wide receiver from Oregon, 137 yards, 1 TD, 5 receptions. Bam. Talking about another trap game. I'm telling you, man, it's these teams that you think that you're just going to gloss over that end up giving you the toughest times as a team. Washington State is another one of them. I said their name earlier. I'm telling you, I was there one time when they beat USC and they rushed the field. Guess what I did? I zipped my jacket up. I rushed the field too. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like I'm never ever gonna get this kind of opportunity again. So you got to take advantage when it happens. So that was really cool, but we still lost, and this sucks. Sam Darnold. That's when Sam Darnold fumbled, and they recovered. Game over. Place went crazy. Then we had number 16th ranked Ole Miss barely beat Tulsa, 35-27. Dart, who I believe was a quarterback at USC for Ole Miss, 154 yards for 2 TDs. Ole Miss's running back, 140 yards for 2 TDs. Heath, a receiver for Ole Miss, 75 yards, 1 TD. Was that an interception? No, it wasn't. Okay. And then we'll move on to number 17, Baylor, who barely beats Iowa State, 31-24. The Deckers, 284 yards, 2 TDs for Iowa State's quarterback. Baylor's running back, 78 yards, 1 TD. No wide receiver for Iowa State, 120 yards with 7 receptions. Then we had Stanford going against Washington. Big Pac-12 game. Always a tough, two tough teams. And number 18, Washington is able to dominate them 40-22. Washington's QB had 309 yards, 2 TDs. Penix Jr. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that running back's name. You know who you are. Last name Papa, put it that way. Stranger Things. 120, 1 TD. Wilson, the wide receiver from Stanford, 176 yards, 2 TDs. And then you had Wyoming going up against BYU, number 19 BYU. BYU wins 38-24. BYU's Hall had 337 yards, 4 TDs. BYU's running back Davis had 131 yards. Their receiver Hill had 160 yards for 2 TDs. And then we had number 22 Texas, who was upset by Texas Tech again. 37-34. Damn, again heartbreaking, man. Again with Texas Tech playing. They just need to stop playing there. They need to switch this to a neutral site, man. You had Texas Tech quarterback, 331 yards, 2 TDs. Robinson, Texas running back, 101 yards, 2 TDs. Texas Tech's wide receiver Price, 98 yards. Then you had Rhode Island going against number 24th ranked Pittsburgh, 45-24. You had Rhode Island's quarterback Hill, 223 yards, 1 TD. I'm not going to try to say Aban Nikanada. I think that's how you say it. 177 yards, 4 TDs. Damn. Pittsburgh's running back. Jesus. And then you have and Jesus we all trust. Summers, wide receiver from Rhode Island, 55 yards. And then the last game of the week for college was Middle Tennessee against Miami. 45-31, Miami loses. Number 25 ranked Miami loses to unranked Middle Tennessee. Damn. Guarantee those boosters ain't happy. You had Middle Tennessee's quarterback Cunningham, 400 yards with 3 TDs, and he only had 9 incompletions. Middle Tennessee's running back, 74 yards, 1 TD. Middle Tennessee's receiver, England, doesn't show his whole name. England Shyslom? I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I'm chopping up your last name, bro. 2 receptions, 169 yards, 2 TDs. 2 receptions. 2. That means every single time this guy got the ball, it was a huge play and a TD. That's what's up. Talk about being a Robert Ory. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the NFL, guys, and we're gonna start off with the Buccaneers and Packers, which was a very, very back and forth game, which was actually a lot closer than it should have been. I mean, you ask me, I feel like the Packers should have just straight dominated the Buccaneers, especially since the Buccaneers didn't have no weapons, bro. Like, how you not gonna jump on this opportunity when they have no weapons? And Brady legit drove the team down at the very end of the game, and almost, if it wasn't for the mishandled of the time, and they ended up getting a flag, which pushed them back a little bit more. Who knows? They probably would have converted, and who knows? And it would have been up in the air. That game would have been up in the air after that. To me, that this game you learn. I feel like you learn more about the Buccaneers than you did about the Packers, because I mean, look what the Buccaneers were able to do with literally practice squad receivers. I mean, that's how great Brady is, man. Like, it's literally just give me whoever's out there. Just give me whoever, and we're probably gonna win this game. I mean, that's the ultimate confidence as you want as a fan, knowing that we're okay as long as we have that guy, in the backfield. And yeah, definitely the Packers were able to pull this one off, 14-12. Each team is 2-1, so I mean, you could take that game with a grain of salt as well. This is one game that I definitely, don't be surprised if it's a playoff matchup later on down the road. And hopefully the Buccaneers are healthier down the road, because I mean, what is it? The past 2 years, I mean, that's what's been their Achilles heel is their injuries to their receivers. It hasn't been to anything else. It's literally been to just the receiving core has been getting hurt all the time. Like, the receivers can't stay healthy. So we'll see what happens there. And these teams are actually struggling the same way these two other teams are struggling with the Heat in Florida. You had some Packers players legit, like, really, really exhausted because of the heat from that Florida Heat, So we should maybe start looking into some domes in Miami. You know what I'm saying? But we'll move on to the next game, which was the Falcons and the Seahawks. My Seahawks, as you can tell. We weren't able to do it this week, boys. We lost to the Falcons 27-23. We looked really good. It's just we made a bad play at a bad time. We turned the ball over at the very, when we were driving down the field. And it happens. It happens, as a fan, especially as a Seahawks fan right now, like, being 1-2 is actually a scenario that, I mean, a lot of us weren't expecting. And I actually like this scenario because, we literally win next week and we're back to 500. That's what's good about being, just winning that first game. So we're still in good shape. So we'll see what happens there, but we looked good. The rookies are getting better. Obviously they're gonna make rookie mistakes. Our offensive line is looking good, man. And Gino's getting that time, so I'm really happy to see that. I'm really happy to see that they're giving Kenneth Walker reps. I'm just excited because it's a young team and they're only gonna get better with all this experience, especially the corners. I mean, you're already seeing Kobe Bryant making big plays. Woolen had an interception today. So yeah, we're seeing there's flashes from those corners. We're definitely still hurting at the safety spot and the linebacker spot. Obviously, pass rush too. We need to get some more rush up front. But we're doing good. I mean, we're in these games. Look at this, 23-27. It's not like we're getting blown out, guys. Like, we're all right. Everybody still needs to calm down and chill out. And we'll move on to the next game, which was the Rams against the Cardinals, which is a divisional game, NFC West. The Rams were able to win 21-20. They were able to win 20-12. The Rams are now 2-1. Cardinals go to 1-2. That sounded funny. I said that. They go down to 1-2. I was watching the game towards the end, and I mean, I don't know what's up with the Rams, man, but I don't get why you're gonna get a guy like Allen Robinson to come in and literally not throw the ball at him at all. Like, Allen Robinson isn't that good to be a decoy, so it's like, what do you have him there for if you're not gonna throw it to him? So it's something's going on. Something's weird's going on there, because I just feel like it's really weird how he doesn't get the ball literally at all. But it is what it is, you know. Of course, you got Cooper Kupp, who's literally always open, so I mean, that always makes sense too. And then we move on to the next game, which was very surprising, in a way, but then it kind of wasn't, because, you know, you understand with the injuries that are going on. You have the Chargers going against the Jaguars, and you don't want to take anything away from the Jaguars either. The Jaguars stomped the Chargers 38-10. The Jaguars are actually 2-1. The Chargers are 1-2, who I chose to actually win the whole thing. I'm still not tripping, you know, because they're not healthy. J.C. Jackson didn't play. Herbert's obviously still hurting. And then also Eckler didn't really play either. Like, it's kind of like he was like on limited snaps. Or, you know, because I didn't see him in the second half. Maybe a little bit. They use him more just as a receiving back more than anything. But yeah, definitely the Jaguars looked really good, but they just jumped all over these guys. They couldn't block them. Slater went out, I believe, as well. Joey Bosa went out. So I mean, like, yeah, that Chargers defense is hurting. You know, I mean, you're missing two of your highest paid guys on your defense. You're definitely gonna be hurting. So yeah, the Jaguars are able to win. They were able to win, and now they're 2-1, and they're one of those surprise teams that are 2-1. And they just scored. So the Broncos just scored and took the lead against the 49ers in the fourth quarter. 12 plays, 80-yard drive. It took them. They took 6 minutes out of the fourth quarter. So now we'll see if they could take the 2-point lead right now. It's 11-10. But like I said, big ups to the Jaguars, man. Doug Peterson, that's what's up. What's his name? You could look at Trevor Lawrence and you could tell it looks like he's having fun playing football again. So we'll move on to the Eagles and the Commanders, which the Eagles were able to win 24-8. Obviously Carson Wentz was going against his old team against the Eagles and wasn't able to do anything. So the Broncos are actually going for 2 right now, guys. So remember, it's 11-10. They're going for 2. They're throwing for it and incomplete. It was batted down on the line. So it's 11-10. And yeah, the Eagles look good, guys. Like, they legit look good. They look good on defense and offense and special teams. Like, they're just firing all cylinders. They're 3-0. They're 3-0. And it's this week 4. Week 4 is when shit really starts. Stuff really starts picking up in the NFL. People start getting into shape. Because once you get into week 8, everybody's literally pretty much in football shape, and they're ready to go. Because after week 8 is basically when the NFL season starts, is what a lot of people say. A lot of people say that, you know, the NFL season starts after week 8, after the trade deadline's done. So we'll see how these teams are going into there, because we've seen it multiple times. Teams go undefeated into the bye or into week 8, and then all of a sudden, bam, everything just starts going haywire. So don't be too hyped if your team's undefeated as well, because shit could go upside down real quick. And don't get too depressed if your team's 0-3, like this team that we're about to talk about, who's actually the only team that's 0-3. Because things could still get flipped around. I mean, we're seeing injuries happen left and right here, guys. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention, Trent Williams came out of this game. He's out right now. So see what I mean? Like, injuries are happening, guys. So don't get too bummed out on your team right now. Speaking of 0-3 though, The Raiders lose to the Titans 24-22, man. How? Come on, Raiders. Like, if there's one team you should have beat, it should have been this one. But the Titans, they beat them, man. Tough team. Everybody's a professional, guys. Ran the ball really good. They weren't able to stop them. The Raiders, Hunter Renfrow was out. I'm not saying that just because he was out that, that's why they lost. But, that's a huge piece to your offense. And then, I watched the end of this game where Derek Carr actually tied. He could have tied the game and went for a 2-point conversion. But instead of going for the number one receiver and the number one paid receiver in Davante Adams, he decides to go to Darren Waller, and they don't get it. And they don't convert the 2-point conversion, and they lose. To me personally, like I said, on a play like that, I'm giving it to Davante Adams. That's the reason why we paid him. That's the reason why we brought him here. I'm gonna give you this ball. It was for these moments for you to win these games. So yeah, that's definitely got to get figured out. Because that didn't look good. And you're not supposed to be a team that's 0-3. But it is what it is. We move on to the next game. We have the Bengals and the Jets. The Bengals looked really good at both phases of the game. Joey Burrow was really getting the ball out this game. Like he didn't hold on to it. He didn't anything. That ball was out. It was out. His receivers made big plays. I believe it was Boyd had like a 56-yard run pass. They ran it all the way for a touchdown right before the half. They looked good. The Bengals look good. They're 1-2. They win next week. They're back to 500. Things are being back to normal again. The Jets, lose though. For a second, it looked like they were gonna lose their best receiver or not their best receiver, but their number one receiver that they had in the number one draft that they drafted in Wilson. He got hurt in the second quarter, I believe, and he didn't come back till like the mid-third, I believe, quarter. So he showed some toughness. But the Bengals just looked really good this today. They ran the ball, they passed the ball, they played good defense, they played good special teams. They had a great team win today. Which moves us to the Ravens and the Patriots where the Ravens were able to win 37-26. The Ravens are now 2-1. Patriots go to 1-2. This was a conference game. And honestly, if you're a Patriots fan, you should be kind of worried because the injury to Mac Jones did not look good, man. It did not look good. It didn't look horrible, but it didn't look good. And then his reaction, the pictures I seen on Twitter, I mean, you'd think this fool snapped his damn leg. So he definitely was in a lot of pain. I'm not gonna make fun of him for it because like I said, it looked like he was in a lot of pain. So we'll see what happens going forth with them. Obviously, they have Brian Hoyer there, who's been the backup there forever, and it isn't the first time him having to step up into this role for the Patriots. He's actually kind of used to it. So I won't really see a drop off in their offense, I think. And they are just 1-2. So I mean, if they win the next game, they're back to 500. So it's really nothing to worry about. But Lamar Jackson has been balling out, man. The Ravens are probably really, really regretting the fact that they did not pay him, because whatever he asked for, he's probably gonna ask for more now. The way he's balling out, like straight up, like Lamar Jackson is balling out, guys. Which moves us to our next game, which was this sucked to see this game because you root for these guys so much, man. You just want these guys. You want these guys to win, man. But it was a divisional game between the Lions and the Vikings. The Vikings were able to win late. They were able to win late. Now they are 2-1. The Lions are 1-2. They were able to win 28-24. Like I said, they won late. I believe it was Osborne. Osborne broke free late. And scored a touchdown. So that happened, and that's how it pretty much ended. The Lions weren't able to do anything. They were out of timeouts. They were kind of trying to figure out what they wanted to do, whether if they wanted to take 2 shots to the end zone or maybe run one more play. It was just too much without no timeouts. They just ran out of time basically, and the Vikings were able to win. So good for them. They are 2-1 now. And we move on to, this was such a great game. Such a great game. Tempers were flared. Like I said, another playoff matchup for sure. I've honestly, I could see this being like the way these two teams were going at it. I want to see this. I don't see why it wouldn't be the AFC Championship game. But it was the Bills and the Dolphins, man. And the Dolphins are now 3-0. The Bills are 2-1, which is obviously still totally fine. But the Dolphins were able to win 21-19. And this was another game where I was talking about when the weather really had a factor. I mean, you had a lot of Bills guys. I mean, it literally looked like they were about to pass out, like they were about to like heat stroke on the field. Like, this isn't the first time. I remember when Seattle, when they had a Legion of Boom and we played down there, the same thing happened to us. Like, everybody, you could just see everybody was super exhausted, super tired. And it just seems like that weather really is a factor for the Dolphins. And is it a healthy one? Hell no. I mean, heat stroke is bad for any professional, not just freaking NFL, bro. Like, you don't want to have a heat stroke. That's really bad. Yeah, I mean, things really got heated. I mean, Josh Allen and I think it was Wilkins were going at it to the point where Allen ripped his helmet off, like, and was talking, like, standing over him talking shit. Like, this is definitely has turned into a rivalry, like, today. Like, these teams do not like each other. I mean, they lost. The Bills lost. You had the offensive coordinator up in the skybox, like, throwing shit, ripping papers. Like, this was an intense game. Like, the Dolphins really wanted, obviously they really wanted to win this game, but I mean, for that coach to react like that, it's like he was expecting to win that game, you know? And so the next time they meet, they're going to meet in Buffalo. And you know those fans are going to be ready, man. And if they play in the cold, it's going to be even better, you know, because then it benefits the Bills. It's all right, we got to play in your heat. Now you get to play in Sub-Zero. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll see what happens here, but this is definitely going to be a matchup I want to watch the next time they play. And also, too, there was a lot of controversy going on with Tua because a lot of people were saying that he shouldn't have came back into the game. I'm one of them, too. If you would have seen Tua, the way he was walking, the way he fell back down, the way his legs were giving out, that he was definitely concussed. And you don't need to be a certified doctor to be like, yeah, there's obviously something wrong with this guy. There was something wrong with Tua, and they let him play in the second half, which obviously benefited them, but still at like what cost? Like, the NFL is definitely looking into that, which is good. I'm glad they're looking into it, and I hope the Dolphins get in trouble because that's some BS, man. If it's one thing you don't play with is, especially in that sport, it's with damage to the brain, and that's what a concussion is. So yeah, well, we'll see what ends up happening with them, but that was not cool seeing that. That for me personally, because I'm a big person on safety. We move on to the Colts and the Chiefs, who the Colts were able to beat the Chiefs 20-17. The Colts are 1-1, and the Chiefs are 2-1. The Colts actually picked off Mahomes late in the game to seal the game, which is not common to hear, you know. But they were able to pick off Mahomes at the end of the game, and that sealed the game, and they were able to get out of there with the win. Let me see here. Okay, and then we'll move on to the Texans and the Bears, which the Bears were able to win 23-20. Look at Justin Fields, but I think Justin Fields had like 2 interceptions and no TDs. But he did enough for them to win. So they're able to win. Lovie Smith doesn't get to beat his old team. The Texans fall to 0-2-1. Looking good, looking strong for that for the number one pick besides the Raiders. So we move on to the Panthers and the Saints, which was a divisional game. Each team are now 1-2. The Panthers, they were able to win 22-14. The Saints defense offense wasn't able to do anything. I believe Michael Thomas got hurt. Olave had a great game for his rookie campaign. The Panthers looked good. They looked good. And they obviously were, the better team today. So they were able to win that game. Huge divisional game, 22-14. Steelers, Browns, we already talked about that game. We have the Cowboys and the Giants tomorrow. Who the Giants are 2-0, man. And the Cowboys, who don't have their starting quarterback, are 1-1 and keep on being in the news for all the wrong reasons. I'm definitely, I'm gonna ride with the Giants. They're 2-0. Why not? Why not go with the team that's got the O? I'm gonna go with the Giants. They're at home. It's a divisional game, so they're gonna come ready with it. And I see them winning in prime time tomorrow. I believe Mika Parsons also said that, I guess he had flu symptoms or that he's sick or something. So tomorrow, they're trying to make it seem like it's going to be his flu game or whatever. Oh, snap. This game's really close. But, yeah, they're trying. That's what I seen on Bleacher Report, that they're kind of trying to make it seem out like that. But, that's what went down in week 2 in the NFL. And right now, we got a really close game. We got a minute and 42 seconds with the 49ers and the Broncos. The Broncos lead 11-10. Oh, shit. Ooh. That could be game, boys. We just had the Broncos cornerback punch the ball out of Wilson, the running back for the 49ers. And it bounced right into another Broncos player's hands. So the Broncos actually got the ball at their own 25-yard line, and the 49ers only have one timeout left, so it looks like the Broncos are actually about to win this game by 1 point because of that fumble right now. What are the odds of that? Oh shit, did he go off sides? It looked like Jones jumped off sides for the Broncos, and they didn't call it. The Broncos are home, by the way. Damn. Yeah, they're about to lose. They got no timeouts. They got a minute left, and it's 2nd and 11. Yeah, the Broncos are about to kneel this game, about to pull off this win. So that's how the Sunday night game ends. The Broncos are gonna win 11-10, guys. Wow, what a game. So yeah, I got the Giants winning, and that's basically what happened over the weekend with sports. We had some boxing going on too. Shakur Stevenson dominated his fight. He said that he's gonna move up to the super talented 135 division, where if you don't know who's in that division, it's Lomachenko, Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Kambosos, all those guys. So it's gonna be, they're adding another really great fighter into that division. Who else fought? Oh yeah, you had who was it? Was it Joyce, the heavyweight? Let me see here. I believe it was Joyce. I think it was Joe Joyce. I believe that's his name. The heck? Yep, right here. It was Joe Joyce. He knocked out Joseph Parker, who was another really good, talented heavyweight. And Joe Joyce was able to win. And Joe Joyce, if you don't know who Joe Joyce is, this guy could do backflips. He's really athletic. And, he just knocked out Joseph Parker, who was a top heavyweight, guys. So we'll see who this Joyce guy gets to fight. I'm seeing Fury's name tossed around in this article a lot right now. I'm seeing Usyk. The doors are wide open for Joyce right now, and who he could fight next. So it'd be, look out for that name. Look out for Joe Joyce. That's a big name in the heavyweight division in boxing. It's gonna be real nice to see who he fights next. But yeah, like I said, that's basically it, guys. That's all that pretty much happened in the NFL. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, I will definitely make a episode for the Monday night game. Obviously once it happens. But that's basically all that happened in sports, guys. It was a great weekend of sports. And it was a crazy ending to the Sunday night game. I mean, literally a fumble right into another defender's hands, and Russell Wilson gets another win. Now he's 2-1, and he beats the 49ers, an old foe. What a crazy way to end the game. 11-10, guys. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me today, guys. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I love every single one of you guys. Keep on being great. Keep on being you. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, there's no time to waste. No time to waste. No time to waste. No, there's no time to waste. No time to waste. No time to waste. So you better do the damn thing right. You only got one life.